Well, ANC Chairperson Ramakgopa, who opened the conference in Bloemfontein, told delegates that the new leadership of the province will need to toughen up and not depend on Luthuli House for intervention. He's also called for order and discipline. Well, for more on this, let's speak to Dr. Ramakgopa, who is with the ANC Strategic Dialogue Group's national office. Dr. Ramakgopa, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on our program this morning. Very quickly, your reflections on the conference this past weekend, or the duration of the weekend. We saw those delays at the registration process on Friday. Finally, the conference getting underway yesterday. What do you make of those sort of events?
Thank you very much, Ntokozo, and all viewers across the breadth and width of South Africa. Now, the events at Mangaung, in a way, it's a mirror reflection of what we saw recently at Nasrec, when we held our national elective conference. But may I also hasten that we've also seen this new development, in other provinces when we held conferences in preparation for the national conference. What does it tell us? The first thing is that the ANC indeed is a highly contested terrain, contested not only by those that are truly members of the ANC deep in their hearts, but also those that see this noble organization, as a vehicle, to perpetuate their own selfish ends. And we want to remind everyone, that we need to continue to reflect on what the ANC is all about. It's about uniting the people of South Africa. And it's done this very well over the past 100 years or so. And the other thing is about its mission. A mission of not just uniting the people of South Africa, but also a mission of reversing all the injustices of the many, past decades and centuries. And that is a tall order. And being a tall order, it's something that the ANC has over the years proven itself as the true vehicle and the hope for people to achieve their aspirations. Now, that being the case, with it having, won one election after the other, as much as, the numbers are coming down, clearly other people out there still see it as something to climb on for them to be able to achieve their own ends. And that really pains our hearts. Now, we are saying that, the ANC, the new ANC leadership, in the national and provinces, branches, must be, alert. They must be vigilant, to, all this contestation, which is not necessarily contestation by only true ANC members, but also those that want to peddle divisions amongst ourselves, those that want to sow confusion in the minds of the people of South Africa, those that want to see the ANC looking bad. So it is very important that the ANC, leadership, stand up to be equal to this challenge.
Well, Dr. Ramakgopa, interestingly enough, in our conversation with your colleague yesterday, Professor Brian Nagedi, he called into question the quality of membership within the African National Congress, raising that as an issue of particular concern for members of your strategic dialogue group. And interestingly enough, we had ANC National Chairperson Ramakgopa also reflecting on a similar stance, noting that he believes that the quality of membership, decline perhaps, is a reflection of the party's own leaders. I'm curious to hear what are your thoughts. What exactly is happening when it comes to the membership of the ANC? Where is the decline? Where is the disintegration?
Ntokozo, the ANC being a broad church, as it has always been, like I've said earlier on, that it was meant fundamentally to unite the people of South Africa along all color lines. Political organizations, political affiliations, cultural, and religious persuasion and so forth, right? And of course, at the end, aim to create some sense of unity for a purpose of doing exactly what I've alluded to before, to ensure that the injustices of the past are reversed. So unfortunately, when you do that with the broad church, is that now you bring also elements within you, that do not have a full understanding of what the ANC is, where it comes from, what it stands for, and what it's supposed to do, its posture. Clearly what we saw at Mangaung, the chaos that we saw, at registration points, and other branch activities and so forth, that is very much an ANC. The ANC has always been an organization that has been always having disciplined members, people that will be sitting together for a certain purpose, people that will realize that they're not just sitting there as, ANC members, that they are delegated, they are entrusted, to keep together this organization. This organization does not belong to the Tule House. It does not belong to Ramakgopa and NEC. It does not belong to, Bill Ramakgopa and others. It's a property of the people of South Africa. As I said, across all political, cultural, religious affiliations and so forth. And lots of people misunderstand that tall order. It's a tall order, and I'm not aware of any other organization, political and otherwise, that has ever put that on the table as part of its agenda. Now, with that being a tall order, I think it can be understood that not all of us will be at the same level to understand this mandate. This is a mandate that many of us do understand that it is not going to be achieved completely during our lifetime, but it's going to have to be something that all South Africans are going to have to be focused on, for the next decade, for the next many years, next many generations. And the ANC has a responsibility to build a strong foundation. As it builds that strong foundation, as it accepts people in this broad church, accept that there will be those that will remain backward, those that will think, that violence and disruptions, are a means of attaining what you want. We've long passed, a season of violence. We went through it, and we went through it with flying colors. We were able to be part of the processes that brought peace, in this country, and also continue to work on the rest of the continent to bring peace. So now what we saw unfolding at Mangaung and elsewhere, it is something that is unbecoming.
Right.
And the new ANC leadership, which is youthful, which is balanced, and it enthuses one with confidence that in them we've got people that will be able to arrest, this new culture that is likely not to just erode and destroy the ANC, but it has got the potential to destroy the country. As we've seen the current, troubles that we've had in education, in the economy, and elsewhere, all those, as much as there were big problems, but a lot of them were a creation of people that do not understand the mandate and what the people of South Africa want and what the ANC is there for.
Right. Well, Ntate Ramakgopa, earlier you talked about the ANC being a vehicle for realizing the aspirations of millions of South Africans. Yet, what we've been witnessing for the last couple of days in Mangaung is a party that is completely not in touch with the reality on the ground. And what I mean by that is the fact that we know that in the Free State, in Bloemfontein and Mangaung, service delivery is a major, major issue. We've got residents still utilizing bucket systems. We've got infrastructure that is not being maintained, that is not being developed. And this is a story that travails across the Free State. And at a pivotal time for the ANC in that region to come together, to come up with policies that will address these problems, we've got ANC members at loggerheads with each other. And worst of all, that turning violent. When we look at the fact that this is 2023 going into 2024, the ANC is going to be trying to garner votes from the public. What do you say to South Africans who see those scenes and it does nothing to foster confidence for the governing party?
Yes, indeed, you're right, because the writing is on the wall. We have had 30 years, as the governing party. not just nationally, but also in almost all the provinces, most municipalities. And I can tell you we're not really faring that well. And, and the reason behind that, one does not have to, start giving a long list of excuses. And I'll be the first to say that we could have done a lot better. And then this is the message, things that you've alluded to. Many other citizens all over the country, wherever you go, all the 9 provinces, all municipalities, you'll find that, indeed, that is what reflects about the ANC. Now, the point about it, with all the injustices of the past, with all the damage that they've done by those people that were very competent, to divide and keep millions behind as far as development. The mission that the ANC has put before itself, it's a tall order. It's a tall order, and it needs people who are highly competent, people who have got the expertise, people who fully understand that this is an important mission, a mission that is going to have to be fulfilled or be, that be worked on by ourselves, future generations and so forth. Now, with it being a tall order, with it being a very difficult task and not an easy one, the broad church, and the ANC leadership, especially ANC leadership, need to recognize one thing where we've really not done well is for us to look at all the 60 million citizens and not confine ourselves just to ANC members. We fail to harness, expertise beyond political divide. And the ANC now need to begin to specialize in that and say of the 60 million people, how do we get the best out of it? Because we say our mission is to unite the people.
Right.
And to unite the people for a purpose.
Yeah.
And that purpose should be that all hands on deck.
Right.
We need to mobilize all South Africans for us to be able to reverse the damage that was done in the past.
Well, Dr. Ramakgopa, very quickly, finally, we do have 2 individuals, 2 candidates, Premier Sisi Ntombela and Mxolisi Dugwana, going head-to-head for the position of ANC provincial chairperson in the Free State. At the heart of the chaotic scenes that we saw on Friday was a group of disgruntled ANC members who are still holding on to the heydays of a former Free State Premier Ace Magashule, and on the other side, of course, those individuals who are on board with the ANC leadership's renewal project. What are your thoughts on the 2 individuals who are leading this race, this leadership race in the Free State?
Yeah, this speaks to some of the things that I've already spoken about, that we are at a moment where now we must really make a serious reflection. We as the ANC, reflection against the mission of uniting people, the mission of reversing the serious injustice of the past. I've clearly said that for that to happen, we need people with the expertise, people with the resilience, the commitments, and people who are not going to see, think about even stealing a cent, for instance. People who would, make sure that they deprive themselves or sleep until, all these things are achieved. Now, it is time that when we elect our leadership, that we look at the track record. And that is very important. What is it that you've done and that you've done successfully in the past? What is it that you stand for? What is it that you commit to do?
Right.
And those things, yes.
Unfortunately, we do have to leave our conversation there. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the ANC Strategic Dialogue Group's National Office, Dr. Billy Ramakgopa, joining us for that conversation. Right now, though, let's